In the intricate world of relationship psychology, there's a profound difference between a man who is simply interested and a man who is emotionally captured. While interest is often driven by surface-level attraction and shared hobbies, a true emotional connection is governed by deep-seated triggers, subconscious psychological responses that activate only when a man realizes how much he truly values a woman. For many men, falling in love isn't just a gradual shift in preference. It is a seismic internal event that rewires his priorities, his protective instincts, and his vision of the future. These emotional triggers act as the hidden language of male devotion, providing a roadmap for those who know how to read the subtle signs of a heart that is fully committed. Understanding these triggers requires us to look past the stoic mask that society often encourages men to wear. We often expect love to look like grand, cinematic declarations, but in reality, it manifests in the quiet, involuntary shifts in his behavior. It is the sudden surge of protective energy when you are in a crowd, the unexpected vulnerability he displays during a late-night conversation, or the way he becomes hyper-attuned to your smallest changes in mood. These aren't just nice gestures. They are biological responses triggered by the realization that you have become the most important person in his world. He shows how much he likes you by allowing his own emotional stability to become intertwined with yours, creating a resonance that defines the strength of your bond. In this script, we are diving deep into the 15 emotional triggers that show how much he likes you. We will explore the hero instinct, which drives him to be your ultimate problem solver, and the mirroring effect, which causes him to feel your pain and joy as if they were his own. We will discuss why his sudden separation anxiety or his need for your validation are actually massive green flags of a high-value partner. When a man's heart is captured, he stops playing the game of dating and begins the work of building a sanctuary. He values the connection so much that he is willing to dismantle his own ego to ensure that you feel seen, safe, and deeply cherished. For the woman watching or reading, these triggers offer a sense of profound clarity. They allow you to distinguish between a casual connection and a soul-deep commitment. For the content creator, this topic taps into the universal human desire to be truly understood by a partner. By decoding these behaviors, we aren't just analyzing dating. We are celebrating the moment a man decides that the risk of being vulnerable is finally worth the reward of being yours. Prepare to look at his actions through a new lens, one that reveals the silent, powerful triggers of a man who has decided that you are his forever. 1. He experiences a sudden surge of protective instincts. In the intricate architecture of the male psyche, the protective instinct is perhaps the most ancient and powerful emotional trigger. When a man realizes how much he truly likes you, his brain undergoes a chemical shift that prioritizes your safety above his own comfort. This isn't just about shielding you from physical danger. It is a holistic emotional response. You might notice him instinctively placing himself between you and a rowdy crowd, or reaching for your hand when crossing a busy street. These micro-gestures are the outward manifestations of an internal guardian mechanism that has been activated by his deep affection for you. He begins to view your well-being as a direct reflection of his own success as a partner. This trigger is deeply rooted in evolutionary biology, often referred to as the protector instinct. When a man is emotionally invested, his levels of testosterone and vasopressin, hormones linked to bonding and territorial defense, can fluctuate in response to your environment. If he senses you are cold, his immediate impulse is to offer his jacket. If he senses you are stressed by a social interaction, he will subtly step in to redirect the conversation. He is essentially creating a safety perimeter around your life. He values the sanctity of your peace of mind so much that he becomes hypervigilant. This isn't about being overbearing. It is about the silent, steady assurance that as long as he is present, you are protected. For your audience, it is vital to explain that this trigger is one of the most honest tells of a man's heart. Words can be rehearsed, but a reflexive protective movement is nearly impossible to fake. It shows that he has moved past the stage of casual dating and has entered a phase of deep claiming. He isn't just with you, he is for you. He shows how much he values you by assuming the role of your silent guardian, ensuring that the world's friction reaches you as little as possible. When a man's protective trigger is flipped, it signifies that he has found someone he considers irreplaceable. 2. He displays visible vulnerability during deep conversations. For most men, vulnerability is a high-stakes gamble. Society often conditions men to wear a mask of stoicism, hiding their fears, doubts, and past failures. However, when a man's heart is captured, he experiences an emotional trigger that compels him to lower his guard. If he starts sharing stories from his childhood that he hasn't told anyone else, or admits to his secret anxieties about the future, he is handing you the keys to his kingdom. This display of vulnerability is a profound indicator of how much he trusts you. He is essentially saying that he values the intimacy of the connection more than the protection of his own ego. This trigger is a sign of emotional surrender. He has reached a point where he no longer feels the need to perform or maintain a perfect image in your eyes. Instead, he wants to be seen for who he truly is, flaws and all. This is a massive psychological step because it requires him to trust that you won't use his weaknesses against him. When a man is vulnerable with you, he is building a bridge of radical honesty. He shows how much he values the relationship by allowing it to be the one place where he can breathe and be authentically himself. It is a gift of his true self, offered only to the person who has captured his soul. In a YouTube script, this point serves as a powerful litmus test for real love. A man who is just playing a game will stay cool and mysterious. But a man who is falling deep will eventually crack the shell. He might get a little choked up talking about a loss, or he might admit he's scared of failing you. These moments are the glue of a long-term bond. By showing his soft side, he is proving that you are his safe harbor. He values the connection so much that he is willing to risk being weak just to be closer to you. 3. He becomes hyper-aware of your emotional state and mood. When a man is deeply captivated, he develops a specialized emotional radar tuned specifically to your frequency. A major emotional trigger is the sudden onset of hyper-awareness regarding your mood. He begins to notice the micro-shifts that others miss, the slight hesitation in your voice, a change in the way you part your hair, or a subtle dullness in your eyes when you're tired. He isn't just noticing. He is feeling your energy. This is a sign of how much his own emotional stability has become intertwined with yours. He is constantly seeking to ensure the emotional climate between you is sunny and warm. This trigger is linked to emotional contagion, a psychological phenomenon where one person's emotions trigger a similar state in another. Because he values you so immensely, your sadness becomes his distress, and your joy becomes his triumph. You might find him asking, "Are you okay?" before you've even realized you're upset. He is looking for recalibration cues. This sensitivity shows that he is no longer an isolated individual. He is part of a pair. He values the harmony of your relationship so much that he is willing to do the emotional labor of investigating even the smallest ripple in the water. For your viewers, this is a clear sign of a high-value partner. It proves that he is paying more attention to you than to anything else in his environment. He shows how much he cares by being your emotional mirror. While some might see this as being needy, it is actually a sign of intense focus and devotion. He doesn't want to leave you to struggle with a bad mood alone. He wants to be the one who brings the light back into your day. This hyper-awareness is a silent tribute to the fact that you have become the center of his emotional world. 4. He exhibits the hero instinct by solving your small problems. The hero instinct is a psychological concept that suggests men have a biological drive to be needed and to be useful to the people they love. When a man's heart is captured, this trigger goes into overdrive. He starts looking for small wins to prove his value to you. Whether it's fixing a squeaky door, helping you navigate a difficult work situation, or simply researching the best vacuum cleaner for your apartment, he wants to be your go-to guy. He shows how much he likes you by becoming your most dedicated problem solver. He wants to prove that he is a reliable and capable asset in your life. This trigger is about competence and contribution. A man feels a deep surge of masculine fulfillment when he can lighten your load. He isn't just doing chores. He is offering acts of service as a language of love. He values your comfort so much that he takes it upon himself to eliminate the stresses in your environment. If you mention a problem, and he immediately starts brainstorming solutions. He is signaling his commitment. He wants to be the hero in your story, the one you can count on when things get complicated. This is his way of showing how much he cares without needing to use flowery or dramatic language. In your video, this point helps women recognize the silent support that men often provide. It encourages the audience to value the men who show up with a toolbox or a plan. A man who triggers his hero instinct for you is a man who is building a foundation of dependability. He isn't just a guest in your life. He is an active participant in your success. He shows how much he values the union by making sure the logistics of your life are running smoothly. It's a practical, grounded form of love that speaks of long-term stability. 5. He feels a deep sense of pride when you succeed. One of the most beautiful emotional triggers in a man who is all in is the experience of vicarious pride. When you hit a milestone, get a promotion, or simply master a new skill, he reacts as if he won the prize himself. He becomes your biggest cheerleader, bragging about your achievements to his friends and family. This trigger shows that he doesn't view you as a competitor. He views you as his better half. He shows how much he values you by celebrating your light rather than feeling threatened by it. Your success is a source of genuine dopamine for him. Psychologically, this is a sign of secure attachment. He is confident enough in himself and in the relationship that your growth only makes him prouder to be by your side. He isn't looking to dim your shine to make himself feel bigger. He wants to be the one holding the spotlight for you. This pride reveals a deep level of admiration. He doesn't just love you, he respects you. He values your talent and your ambition as much as he values your beauty. He shows how much he cares by being the person who reminds you of your worth whenever you forget it yourself. For a YouTube audience, this is a major green flag. It differentiates a man who wants to control you from a man who wants to empower you. A man whose pride is triggered by your success is a man who is husband material. He sees the two of you as a power couple. He shows how much he loves you by being the foundation upon which you can build your greatest dreams. His pride is the emotional fuel that proves he is your most loyal teammate for life. 6. He shows signs of separation anxiety during long absences. When a man's heart is truly captured, his brain begins to rely on your presence for its baseline of emotional stability. A major emotional trigger that reveals how much he values you is the onset of a subtle, healthy form of separation anxiety. This isn't about being possessive or controlling. It is about the withdrawal he feels when he is away from his primary source of joy. You might notice that if you go on a trip or have a particularly busy week, he becomes more proactive in his communication. He might send check-in texts just to hear your voice or share a mundane detail about his day simply to maintain the tether between you. He is signaling that his world feels slightly off balance when you aren't in it. This trigger is linked to the oxytocin loop. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, is released during physical touch and meaningful conversation. When you are apart for long periods, his brain experiences a dip in these feel-good chemicals, leading to a restless or longing sensation. He values the connection so much that the physical distance creates a psychological void that he seeks to fill with digital or verbal closeness. He shows how much he cares by being the one who reaches out first, not because he is bored, but because he genuinely misses the resonance of your energy. It is a sign that you have become a vital part of his daily emotional ecosystem. For your YouTube script, this point helps women distinguish between a man who is playing it cool and a man who is all in. A man who doesn't mind days of silence is a man who hasn't yet integrated you into his life. But a man who feels the sting of your absence is a man who has made you a priority. He shows how much he likes you by being vulnerable enough to admit that he misses you. This separation anxiety is a testament to the depth of the bond. He isn't just dating you. He is becoming attached to you in the most profound sense of the word. 7. He becomes unusually open about his future plans with you. One of the most significant emotional triggers in a man who is captured is the sudden, natural integration of you into his long-term vision. When a man values you, his internal dialogue shifts from I and me to we and us. He begins to talk about events 6 months, a year, or even 5 years down the line with a casual assumption that you will be there. Whether it's discussing a concert next summer or mentioning a dream home he wants to build, he is revealing how much he has already committed to you in his mind. This future casting is a psychological sign that he has categorized you as a permanent fixture, not a temporary guest. This trigger is a byproduct of investment signaling. Men are traditionally wary of committing to the future unless they are certain about the person they are with. When he starts sharing his blueprints for life, he is inviting you to co-author the next chapters. He shows how much he likes you by giving you access to his goals, his ambitions, and his fears regarding the future. He wants to know if your visions align because he is already building a space for you in his world. He values the connection so much that he is willing to forego the freedom of a solitary future for the security of a shared one. In your video, this point is a massive green flag. It tells the viewers that a man's words about the future are the most honest window into his heart. If he is including you in his plans, he isn't just passing the time. He is building a life. He shows how much he cares by making you a stakeholder in his dreams. This emotional trigger proves that he sees you as his endgame. It is a sign of a high-value man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to let you know that what he wants is a future with you by his side. 8. He reacts with intense empathy to your pain or stress. A man who is deeply in love doesn't just feel sorry for you when you're going through a hard time. He experiences a trigger known as empathic resonance. When you are in pain, he feels a literal ache in his own chest. When you are stressed about work, he becomes restless and protective. He shows how much he values you by taking on your emotional burdens as if they were his own. He isn't just a bystander to your life. He is an active participant in your emotional health. Your tears become his motivation to fix the world, and your stress becomes his mission to provide a safe harbor. This trigger is a sign of neural mirroring. The stronger the bond, the more his brain mirrors your emotional state. He values the connection so much that he cannot be happy if he knows you are suffering. He shows how much he likes you by being the first one to offer comfort, a listening ear, or a practical solution. He isn't looking to fix you because you're broken. He's looking to protect you because you're precious. His empathy is a shield he holds over your heart, ensuring that you never have to face the coldness of the world alone. It is a profound level of emotional intimacy that proves his heart is fully engaged. For your audience, this point is a beautiful indicator of soul-level attraction. It shows that he has moved past the surface and into the core of who you are. He shows how much he cares by being your emotional anchor. When a man is willing to sit with you in the dark, to feel what you feel, and to support you without judgment, he is showing the ultimate form of devotion. His empathy is the glue that holds the relationship together during the storms of life. It is a sign that he has truly made your heart his home. 9. He seeks constant emotional validation and reassurance. While we often think of men as being totally self-assured, a man who is deeply in love often experiences an emotional trigger that makes him crave your validation. Because he values your opinion more than anyone else's, he becomes sensitive to your feedback. He might ask, "Are you happy with me? Or do you still find me attractive?" This isn't about him being weak, it's about him being invested. He is constantly checking to see if he is meeting the high standard he has set for himself as your partner. He shows how much he likes you by making your approval his highest priority. This trigger is linked to relational self-esteem. When a man's heart is captured, his sense of worth becomes tied to his success in the relationship. He values the connection so much that the thought of losing your respect or your affection is devastating. He shows how much he cares by being coachable. He wants to know what you like, what you need, and how he can be better for you. This need for reassurance is his way of anchoring himself in your heart. He is looking for green lights that tell him he is doing a good job of loving you. In your YouTube script, this point helps women see the vulnerable side of male devotion. It teaches them that a man's need for reassurance is actually a compliment. It means his heart is in your hands. He shows how much he values the union by being willing to ask for the support he needs. It is a sign of a healthy, communicative partnership where both people are invested in each other's happiness. His seeking of validation is a silent, "I want to be the best for you," and it is one of the most honest signs of a man who is all in. 10. He displays a fear of disappointing you in small ways. When a man realizes how much he truly likes you, he develops a psychological fear of disappointment. This isn't a fear of your anger, but a deep-seated worry that he might let you down or fail to meet your expectations. You might notice him agonizing over a dinner choice, or apologizing profusely for being 5 minutes late. He shows how much he values you by treating every small detail of the relationship with immense care. He isn't just showing up. He is striving for excellence because he knows that you are worth the effort. His perfectionism is a tribute to your value. This trigger is a sign of conscientious devotion. He has moved past the casual phase where mistakes don't matter and entered the commitment phase where every action counts. He values the connection so much that he views every interaction as an opportunity to reinforce his love for you. He shows how much he cares by being attentive to the details. He remembers your favorite coffee order, your bad day rituals, and the things that make you smile. His fear of disappointing you is actually a sign of his deep respect. He doesn't want to be just another guy. He wants to be the man who consistently exceeds your expectations. For your viewers, this point is a quality check for the relationship. It differentiates a low-effort man from a high-value man. A man who isn't afraid to disappoint you is a man who isn't fully invested. But a man who treats your happiness with sacred care is a man who has truly lost his heart to you. He shows how much he values the union by being your most dedicated servant leader. His fear of disappointment is the ultimate proof that you have become the most important person in his world. 11. He becomes your most loyal confidant and secret keeper. When a man is deeply captivated by you, a powerful emotional trigger is flipped that transforms him into a vault for your most private thoughts. In the early stages of dating, conversations are often light and performative, but as his feelings intensify, he begins to value the sanctity of your inner world. He shows how much he likes you by becoming the one person who listens without judgment and remembers the smallest details of your fears, dreams, and childhood stories. This isn't just about being a good listener. It is a psychological claiming of your trust. He wants to be the primary person you turn to when the world gets loud, proving that he is a safe harbor for your most vulnerable truths. This trigger is rooted in the concept of exclusive intimacy. By becoming your most loyal confidant, he is essentially building an invisible wall around the two of you that the rest of the world cannot penetrate. He values the connection so much that he protects your secrets as if they were his own. If you tell him about a struggle at work or personal insecurity, he doesn't just offer a fix-it solution. He offers his presence and his silence. He shows how much he cares by never using your vulnerabilities against you, even during a disagreement. This level of loyalty is a high-level indicator that he sees you as his partner for life, someone whose honor is now tied to his own. For your YouTube audience, this point is a massive green flag. It differentiates a man who is just passing through from a man who is all in. A man who doesn't value you will be careless with your information, but a man who has truly captured his heart will treat your secrets like sacred relics. He shows how much he loves you by being the one person you never have to filter yourself around. This emotional trigger creates a deep, unbreakable bond of psychological safety. It is the moment he stops being just a boyfriend and starts being your person, the one who knows the real you and loves you more for it. 12. He experiences mirroring emotions based on your energy. One of the most profound biological triggers of a man in love is emotional synchrony. When a man's heart is fully engaged, his nervous system begins to mirror yours. If you walk into a room radiating joy, you will notice his face light up instantly, reflecting your energy back at you. Conversely, if you are carrying a heavy burden of sadness or anxiety, he doesn't just observe it, he absorbs it. He shows how much he values you by being so attuned to your frequency that your emotional state dictates his own. This isn't a sign of weakness. It is a sign of extreme empathy triggered by a deep, soul-level connection. This mirroring effect is driven by mirror neurons in the brain, which are hyperactivated when we are in the presence of someone we consider high value. He values the connection so much that he can no longer remain neutral when you are affected. He shows how much he likes you by being in the trenches with you emotionally. If you are frustrated, he becomes restless on your behalf. If you are excited, he becomes your biggest cheerleader. This emotional mirroring is a silent tribute to the fact that the two of you are becoming one system. He is no longer an independent observer of your life. He is an active participant in your emotional experience. In your video, this point helps viewers understand the physicality of love. It's not just an idea, it's a biological reflex. He shows how much he cares by being your emotional twin. This trigger is one of the most honest signs of devotion because it happens subconsciously. He can't help but feel what you feel. When a man is so deeply moved by your energy that it changes his own, he is signaling that you have reached the very core of his being. It is a sign of a man who has surrendered his stoic isolation to be fully present with you in every high and every low. 13. He shows a deep need for physical and emotional closeness. While physical touch is a common love language, for a man whose heart is captured, the need for closeness becomes an emotional trigger rather than just a physical desire. He shows how much he values you by seeking out non-sexual intimacy, things like resting his head on your shoulder, holding your hand while driving, or simply wanting to be in the same room as you while you both work on different tasks. This is known as proximity seeking, and it is a primal sign of attachment. He values the comfort of your presence so much that being near you becomes his baseline for happiness. This trigger is a sign of secure bonding. He isn't just looking for a thrill, he is looking for home. He shows how much he likes you by being the one who initiates the small touches that signify a deep sense of belonging. This need for closeness is his way of recharging his emotional battery. When he is near you, his levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, drop, and his levels of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, rise. He values the connection so much that your physical presence becomes his safe space. He is essentially telling you that the world is a better, calmer place when you are within arm's reach. For a YouTube script, this point is a beautiful way to highlight the soft side of masculine love. It shows that he isn't just a provider or a protector, but a partner who needs your warmth as much as you need his. He shows how much he cares by making your closeness a priority, even when life gets busy. This emotional trigger proves that he doesn't just want you, he craves the peace that only you can provide. It is a sign of a man who has found his person and never wants to let the distance grow too wide. 14. He becomes protective of your time and personal energy. A man who values you deeply understands that your time and energy are your most precious resources, and he becomes an emotional guardian of those resources. He shows how much he likes you by noticing when you are overextending yourself or when other people are draining you. This trigger makes him defensive on your behalf. He might suggest that you cancel a social commitment you're dreading, or he might take over household chores so you can finally rest. He values the vitality of your spirit so much that he is willing to act as a buffer between you and the demands of the world. This behavior is a form of proactive caregiving. He isn't just reacting to your fatigue, he is trying to prevent it. He shows how much he cares by being the one who encourages you to set boundaries with others. He wants you to be the best version of yourself, and he knows that requires rest and protection. He values the connection so much that he views your burnout as a personal failure on his part to protect you. By being protective of your time, he is essentially saying your peace is more important than anyone else's expectations. It is a sign of a man who is truly for you in every sense of the word. In your video, this point is a powerful green flag for a healthy relationship. It shows that he is a partner who truly sees you. He shows how much he values you by not being another demand on your time, but rather a source of rest. This emotional trigger is a sign of a high-value man who understands the importance of mental health and balance. He is building a life with you where your well-being is the foundation. It is a sign that he has truly made your happiness his primary mission in life. 15. He exhibits unconditional support during your low moments. The ultimate emotional trigger that reveals how much a man values you is his reaction when you are at your absolute worst. When you are messy, angry, sad, or failing in your own eyes, a man who is all in doesn't pull away. He moves closer. He shows how much he likes you by offering unconditional support. This is the moment he proves that his love isn't based on your performance or your perfection, but on your personhood. He values the soul of the connection so much that the temporary storms of life don't shake his resolve. This trigger is known as resilient attachment. He shows how much he cares by being the rock you can lean on when you have nothing left to give. He isn't looking for a fair-weather partner. He is looking for a lifelong teammate. He values the connection so much that he is willing to sit with you in the darkness until the light returns. This steadfastness is his way of saying, "I'm not going anywhere." It is the highest form of devotion a man can offer. He shows how much he loves you by choosing you every single day, especially the days when you are hard to love. For your final conclusion, this point ties everything together. Love isn't just about the highs, it's about the lows. He shows how much he values you by being the one who stays when everyone else leaves. This emotional trigger is the ultimate proof of a captured heart. He isn't just dating you, he is devoted to you. By being your constant support, he is proving that you are the most important person in his world, and that nothing, not even your own low moments, will ever change that.